Thanks for being here. So, for panel discussion, we have Mr. Ashwin, Balaji, Hemlatha, and Beena here. So, before starting, they can introduce themselves to you. So, Mr. Ashwin.
So if you were here an hour ago, you all met me, and there was a slide that I missed, and we're going to talk about it, AI and education.
So I'm Hemlatha Kumar, currently working with Amazon, been with Amazon for 2 years. Prior to that, I've been with HP and Citibank analytics team. Have close to 15 years of analytics experience.
My name is Balaji Hariharan. I'm the managing director of Softomotive Robotic Process Automation Company. So basically, I lead our global business development and client acquisitions, all aspects.
It's nice to connect back with you after a very nice experience this morning with the session. My name is Ashwin Sri Sailam. I used to be a monk in a monastery for 17 years from the age of 12, and after that I started AHA with my co-founder. We both are based out of New York, and the entire focus of this company is to bring emotional well-being into larger masses, and we do it through app, through web, and a lot of AI and a lot of fine immersive experiences like VR and AR, and the whole passion really is to bridge the gap and to really help people to feel awesome, and so we bring a lot of this content, and at the end of the day, it's all about making a difference. So great to be here again.
Thank you. From last 2 days, we are talking about AI, all the advantages, disadvantages, and use cases. But there are few students from backside. So they are really interested to know about how education of AI can be implemented, because we are missing many things in our system, in our traditional educational system. So what are your thoughts on this? So anyone can start.
So it's like AI used in education, that's what the question is?
About education of artificial intelligence. What tracks to follow to learn artificial intelligence?
It's about, okay.
Yeah. So generally, like what I've seen in India with the experience that I have, so if you take the B schools that we go to, so in IIMs, like the kind of course that they convert, for example, engineers who want to move to analytics course and things like that, generally there are preliminary classes which we set for the basics of it, right? So usually for AI, there's not much course because cases have just started building up in many areas. So if you take analytics, for sure, there are basic courses in IMB and like other places where they give you examples of machine learning. There are companies who come and even like participate in those sessions and things like that. But AI is still in naive state when it comes to education. Artificial intelligence in terms of like building it into robotics, we are still not part of much in curricular systems. But how we approach it currently through education system is through ML, machine learning. Learning how do I mimic some of the human behavior, basics of it, like how do I, if I go and pick something from a place, like instead of me, how a robot can pick. So how I mimic my behavior through a machine, we just collect those data, and through that we try to mimic through machine learning models that we have, machine learning technologies that we have. But we still, in terms of education, we still are yet to evolve in terms of AI.
You can add to it.
Would like to add something more what Hema was mentioning. So we know that we evolved our Indian education system as a grade-based system, right? So back in 10 years, if you ask anybody, they wanted to become an engineer or doctor. That's what we've evolved so far. So plugging in AI in education is called the fourth industrial revolution. I would say fourth educational revolution so far. That's what we're coining a term there. So we need to move out of grade-based system to more of a performance-based system, right? So more focus-oriented performance. And a person can be good at stats, he can be good at mathematics, but if you ask him some questions regarding physics or chemistry is not going to have much knowledge. So how we can, enhance this capability in terms of, a collaborative environment where he'll be able to be knowing many things, and he is able to plug back into the system, and that system is going to help others who's going to, research and develop their knowledge in that system. So the focus towards future is going to be in a way that plugging AI in the education that is going to help and enable more performance-based systems. It's more of a collaborative-based learning. That's what's going to happen.
Thank you. So my next question is about going beyond the human creation. So you must have heard about Facebook shut down their research program because bots were talking to themselves. So my question is, are we really in the position to create such intelligent systems, or is it just a hype? Beena, you can talk about it.
I think a lot of it is hype, and having worked in the corporate world, I'll tell you that not everything makes it into the news. So you have to take it with a pinch of salt. I'm sure there's more to it than what we read in the news. AI might be just a factor, but there's definitely a lot more research going on. Maybe they want to focus on other aspects of AI. There is a lot of investment happening with AI, and companies just need to start focusing on how AI can help their business. And I think that's what Facebook is going through. It's just addressing that specific one.
You want to add some points, Hema?
I'm not sure about the controversies that happened there, like if the bots were talking with each other or not. But primarily, they would be looking at a right time to look at like how they can be a pioneer in AI. So probably something went wrong during that time of developing some of the chatbots and things like that. But I think they are learning from their mistakes to comparatively look at Google's products and things like that. For now, I think they are waiting for right market to place themselves.
So before I even go into this, I would quickly love to share an insight on the earlier question. It is very important for us to even ask that how clear are we that this is what we should be teaching the kids, and how do we know where they are exactly? I hear this typical, most common kind of remark that most of the parents share, that I have no idea about this iPhone, I have no idea about this iPad, and my child just figured it out in 2 days. How do they even use it? Now, for us, that's a clear indication for us to even question what actually is happening in them. Why should we even think that we are the guardian of knowledge and we are the first people to bring it to children? What if they're already getting ready for it? More than asking the question what we should teach them, we should be asking the question, what are they telling us that they want to learn? What are they telling us that they want to explore? It's a great, great moment for us to redefine the education system, where it's not about we imparting something to them, but really about finding out who are they made, what are they looking for, what are they made of, and what is their actual genuine passion. So going back to this question about how AI and the education of AI should go into the system, I remember, so my co-founder, she's married and she has a 7-year-old kid. The 7-year-old kid, absolute genius in Minecraft. I'm sure you heard of Minecraft, the game. And so she is so well organized, you won't believe that she, in 10 minutes, we just very randomly spoke with her, and she was seeing one day me and my co-founder sitting and working on a pitch deck for our presentation at TechCrunch. I don't know if you heard of this event, TechCrunch, which happens in the Valley. In 10 minutes, she did a deck, which was so good, we went and presented it at the TechCrunch, and we got picked there as one of the most upcoming companies. It was done by a 7-year-old investor pitch deck. And all she did was as simple as taking a paper and drawing few circles and putting a clear chart. So sometimes what we might think to be the most sophisticated, complicated knowledge, it might not even be the case. So more than asking what we should impart, we should ask what they're looking for and where are they coming from. Once we see that, we've gotten that. That's the first part. That also kind of tags along to the next question about the fear of what bots start talking with each other. It is all really coming from this feeling that we have to be in control. We have to be in control when it comes to kids. We have to be in control when it comes to bots. everywhere it's really, truly about fear of losing control. If we can little bit take a back seat, the house is not on fire. We do have absolutely the room to explore, to learn, and as my co-panelists also shared over here, much of it is hype. It's absolutely not going to happen anywhere distant future. They're going to talk and they're going to conspire against you. All of it is a projection of our own fear. Go ahead, thank you.
Do you want to add some points?
Yeah, I would like to add with Ashwin. So majorly, if you could see, we don't know what is going to be the outcome, right? So that's why the fear factor is coming into play. But if you could take one step at a time, like baby steps, like how, for an example, Google Maps, when we are traveling in a car, if you put maps and every time it's going to, give you the upgraded way, right? It's going to say the fastest route, all the stuff. So as we evolve in this, we will like to learn and then implement and then take the another step. So that's going to check out the fear factor in it, and then we will also be able to evolve to the place where we never think of at this point in time.
Thank you. So my next question about implementing artificial intelligence and robotics in education. We have seen that people are implementing AI in all the fields, so education is one of them. So how AI can enhance the capability of student, or we can at least automate some part of education system? Anyone can answer.
So this is from my personal experience. So currently the schools in Bangalore, I'm very specific to the experience that I have gone through. It might not be a fact everywhere. So the school is actually having a problem of finding good teachers now. So because the education curriculum has changed quite a lot, it's quite advanced. As Ashwin said, it all depends on what our child is aware of. So the school is having trouble to improvise their curriculums and find good teachers who can support that curriculums. So for example, I have Alexa at home, and like the first question my kid asked Alexa is like, can you do my homework? Okay, so that's interesting from their point of view. Even though the teachers teach them on their subjects, on the curriculum, it's similar to how we work in a corporate. It's always fast. So they have a 1 hour session on a particular topic. They could grab to a point, but still when they do their homework, they still have so many doubts, and their doubts are very interesting. So which the teachers can't even because we don't have much talented teachers who are ready to teach now, people who are ready to teach. So the question asked, usually teachers go and say like, I will find an answer and come and tell you. So, but the people, the kids are quite smart now, so they have all devices on their hand, so they go and they are quite intuitive to learn immediately. So they would not wait for the teacher to come back the next day. So, it's interesting to know what is the requirement the next generation have, right? So chatbots, if you take colleges, when there is a course change, for example, engineers who wanting to move to analytics. So getting an analytics professor in big colleges is quite expensive. So what they do is for at least to understand basics and make them ready for the next level. Most of the cases they started with, you would be aware of the MOOCs, the online classes and tests and all that. So those are still evolving. They are still testing, getting the data, then reworking on those data and everything. But the baby step has already started in terms of using that in the education system.
So how AI can help in education? If you see, as she was rightly mentioned, now teachers are more becoming like a classroom assistants, right? Earlier they were having a lot of knowledge which we were not having, so they were not able to teach us so well in a specific manner. But now, if you see, because the information is so wide, right? A lot of people are having the accessibility to the information so easily that the questions are becoming so complicated. So that's where the main contribution of AI will come into play. So a lot of customized based learning can come into each and every individuals who wants to learn. Like chatbots was one good example, and the Alexa is one other good example. So there are a lot of AI is being injected in education where it's going to give a lot of customization in terms of learning, right? So I don't want to learn what others are learning, but I wanted to learn something interesting, something curious for my knowledge. So I'm going to specifically search for that information, and I'm going to, if I get some information on that, I'm going to produce some output and inject that information back into the system, which is going to benefit for some other person. So these sort of customized based learning is going to evolve, and that's how we can see a lot of benefits coming in education via AI.
So I'll just add to that the two perspectives. One is, we have to fundamentally rethink what is education. What does education mean for an elementary school child? How do are the subjects, the courses that's there, even relevant? And how why do we need to inject AI and robotics into it? I think that curriculum fundamentally needs to be re-examined to cater to what students will need for the future. Kind of what Ashwin is trying to say is trying to teach them the foundational Lego blocks, and how they use it to build out their life is what will really enable them. The second part of it is I hope AI will take us more along the lines of personalized education. We all know that we learn differently. Some people are more visual, some people are more verbose and more hands-on, and we don't have it today, right? We have these cookie cutter curriculum, a very specific way that kids are taught. And my hope is that that's what AI will bring to education, really personalized to every student so that they can learn aligned with what their interests are and with their ability to learn.
I absolutely agree with what each one of them are sharing. On a lighter note, I'm sure parents, also especially kids, will be very happy if AI comes in big time and the kids don't have to carry those heavy bags anymore. It's a pity. It's painful to see their backs ache, and you know what I'm talking about, and because they have to take it all. And we live in this dual age where tons and tons of books, of homeworks, of textbooks, and what they read about is AI. So that's a dichotomy which I hope one day definitely changes, which is already happening. That's a good note on us. As far as the real part that I see clearly can happen is, one thing is from a relationship standpoint. I was talking about it offline when we were having tea together with a few friends here. So there's this culture triangle. There is the parent, there's the teacher, and then there is a child. All three play a dynamic equilibrium. The moment the child comes into the education system, the fact is all three are growing. All three are studying, all three are learning. It would be an illusion, or it would be ignorant on my part to think that only the child is learning, only the child is growing. We all three are growing. The teacher should have the capacity to be open to learn every year when the teacher is taking a fresh batch of students. It should not be, I've been doing it for 25 years, I'm just going to do what I know best and you better sit there and listen. It doesn't work like that, because you're dealing with new lives. It's not just a photocopy machine where you're just bringing in same students again and again. You are creating new lives every time. So for these three to really connect well, and last comes the parent, who are basically doing it all from fear of, again, a social system. They want to make sure the child is online. What line are we talking about? The child is online. If he or she moves away from the line, then they are moving away from society. So the fear that is gripping the fear that is gripping the parent, the monotony that is gripping the teacher, and choicelessness that is gripping the child has to be addressed. And the way I see AI playing a role is, if not through conversation, if not through actually cracking the rigidity of this education system, if we are at least open to something new called data, something new called intelligence, and if at least that can give a peek of what is actually happening between these three. And it kind of tags along with, we were talking this morning about losing jobs. We were talking this morning about how AI is going to make many of the jobs redundant. So how does it actually work that you are not ready to flex this system, knowing clearly it is going to a place which is going to be redundant soon? So I won't change this, but this has to be the same. If you see the whole chain, right from the time the child is born to finishing the education, to becoming a graduate, to really getting a job, everything is truly, truly about relationship. It's truly about asking what is the right thing that individual wants to do. If AI can help from a standpoint of really knowing what is actually happening, you get a more bird's eye view than a worm's eye view, where you're stuck to the system and you really don't know how to flex, as Beena was mentioning about whether the child is a visual learner or he or she is more coming from a place of feeling, or it's all pure metrics. That flexibility itself is possible only when there is a greater connection. And I hope that happens. And apart from that, I really feel what will happen soon is the education system itself, what we thought to be a curriculum that A to B, then B to C, C to D, itself will be reinvented, it will be readdressed because it becomes more and more customized. So bottom line that I'm really trying to hammer is it truly helps raising the human being, not just a photocopy machine.
Yeah, thank you. So getting back to your point, like every time in the era of artificial intelligence, in future we will be communicating every time with the system. So how it will affect our few aspects like socializing, because we forgot to call any customer care human agents. So we'll be every time we will be communicating with the systems only. So how it will affect, like will we forgot to talk with the humans or to connect with the humans?
Let me make sure I understand the question. Are you saying that the future generation may not be savvy to social interaction? They may not know how to communicate with other humans?
Yeah. Will this day come?
I don't think so. I think, in fact, the bonds between humans will just grow stronger as I honestly believe that AI is going to help us reach our finer self or make us all better humans, right? And that means building those relationships with both machines, but more with our own kind. So, friendships, any kind of a relationship that helps elevate our happiness and joy is going to take a lot of precedent over doing mundane work, which is what AI is going to take away from us. So I would say that I don't think that's a skill set that we lose.
Okay. See, fundamentally, if you see robotics, right, which is the first step of AI that we are speaking about, the robotics is being built, you're teaching something that can be, given to the robots. So where you will be able to utilize the human for better work, right? So better connect. So learning the culture, spreading the culture, speaking with someone, getting into joy, or sharing the happy moment. Right now, the technology is keeping us occupied, right? How many times you even have your mobile phone in your hand? 18 hours a day in average senses. 18 hours a day you keep your mobile with you, whether you are using it or not, but you are always occupied with the technology. So the AI is phenomenally going to help all the human to connect better. There is something called human experience will evolve. I totally agree with what Beena was mentioning. So human experience is going to take a new shift. So you will be seeing yourself spending more time with your family in the long run, and leaving all the job which can be given to the mission, and we will think of something creativity, how we can protect a better ecosystem and maintaining the balance between man and mission. So we will be investing our time in more creative activities like this. So that's what I see in this way.
Okay. So in the interest of time, any questions from audience? Anyone want to ask some questions?
Is this because everyone is excited, the session is getting over? That is really good to know. So yes, I totally agree with you. It's being added, but how many the exposure to most of the people, the mass audiences? That's what we are talking about. So the personalized learning, right? So that's what we are talking about. AI is going to be an enabler in terms of learning more logics, the one which we are saying. So 90% of the people 10 years back were thinking about engineering and doctor. Now people will look into such concepts and make a career out of it. So that's why we are speaking here. Yeah.
I have a question. Am I audible? Yep. So, if we see from the history, like earlier when the Vedas were recited, they were recited long enough so that they understood that, and they get what it is. And then later on, we got pens and pencils, and we started writing books and books, and we used to write a lot so that we understand what it is. And is this the time that only the visual is enough to learn what a particular concept is? So that's my doubt. So like since we're talking about AI in education, and one of them also talked about replacing books with tabs and all. School kids are getting really heavy load and all that. So if we replace books with tabs, and everything is visual, the learning is visual. So is that the new the next learning thing?
We didn't stop reciting, or we didn't stop writing, right? I think it's just different ways of learning. Hopefully these are just, it's going to help every human being to learn, and we're not